You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Here's the fifth most popular tip in our top 6 tips from the last 6 months countdown. You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today, Jason Bay from Blissful Prospecting is back with not just one tip, but a whole series of ideas. Check this out.
So I wrote a post on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago about cold calling and particularly how to handle not interested. And it turns out that a lot of people have very strong feelings about cold calling. And a lot of the conversation went to, well, how should we open a cold call? What's the best way to open a cold call to avoid hearing not interested? So I got a lot of responses from that, and I want to share some of those responses with you. And what I'm going to share today is 10 cold call opening lines to use, and then 5 ones that you should avoid. And as I do this, I'm going to give credit to people that have popularized these opening lines and really pushed them. They may not be the people that came up with them because it's really hard to come up with and look at who created them and to give them credit. So I'm going to do my best there. So when approaching this, remember, tonality is extremely important. Tonality is more important than what you're saying, although both what you're saying and how you say it is important. So I'm going to do my best here to give you the right tonality. So these opening lines are going to come after, hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting. And then you're going to go into these lines. So you should always introduce yourself with your name and your company. All right. So the first one, popularized by Gong, is, hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, how have you been? And going in with that line, I love this one. Our clients have a lot of success with this line, but the how have you been is a little bit different than variations of that I'm going to talk about avoiding. So there's a lot of data behind that working. The next one is, hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, thanks for taking my call. Do you have a couple minutes? Popularized by John Barrows. He pushes that one a lot. Love that one as well. The next one, Connect and Sell, really uses a lot and is popularized. It's, hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, I know you weren't expecting my call. Do you have 27 seconds to discuss how you guys prospect, or to discuss your prospecting or your outbound or your sales strategy, whatever it might be? Insert that at the end. The next one is Richard Smith over at Refract. Hey, Jason Bay with Blissful Prospecting. If I told you this was a cold call, would you want to hang up, or would you give me time to tell you why I've called today? And this one, you got to really go about this the right way in order for it to work. But if you can have a little bit of fun with it and be very just upfront about the fact that it's a cold call, a lot of people have success with that as well. Next one. Hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, was calling to introduce myself and see if what we do might be useful to you in the future. How's my timing? And that's John Klimshin. He's someone that just responded to a LinkedIn post, so make sure to check that out. The next one is Tito Bort, which I really love Tito over at AltiSales. He said, hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, I was really hoping to speak with you briefly. Do you have 2 minutes? Love that one. The next one, Outreach.io talks about a lot. And it's, hey, Jason Bay with Blissful Prospecting. I'm the guy that's been sending you the emails with the content in there with the cold call opening lines. And then you can get into the rest of your call there. So you're referencing an email you sent them or a direct mail piece. Ben Gilstrap, another person that responded on LinkedIn, shares this one. Hey, Jason Bay with Blissful Prospecting. I'm actually calling to sell you something. And again, it's a pattern interrupt. Unexpected. Could work for you. Definitely recommend trying that one out as well. And then Christopher Voss, Aaron Ross, also at Predictable Revenue, really popularized this one, and it's going for now. Hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, did I catch you at a bad time? And that has a lot of success. I feel like that's getting really overused these days, but that's definitely a go-to line that a lot of people use. And then the last one here, Jamie Carlson recommended it. By the way, there's a LinkedIn post with all of this stuff on it, along with like a couple hundred comments on it. I recommend checking out, and that's in the show notes. But this one I really like. And again, it's being very upfront. Hey, Jason with Blissful Prospecting, you and I haven't talked before, but the reason for my call is, and then you go into the reason for your call. So there's 5 real quick that I want you to avoid based on the fact that a lot of salespeople use these. So there's 3 variations of the how have you been. The reason why I recommend how have you been is that's like what you would ask a friend. Hey, how have you been? Versus how are you? How are you doing? How are you today? Those are all 3 lines that a lot of salespeople use in cold calls. And you're going to come off as just another one of those salespeople. The other one that I would avoid is, how's your day been so far? And you're really going in and asking them about like their day and that sort of thing versus just in general, have you been? Like, try not to get them to do too much thinking. And lastly, the fifth thing you want to avoid is just going straight for your 15 to 30 second pitch. So try out some of those opening lines. Again, check out that LinkedIn post and let me know what works for you.
For the link to the LinkedIn post and for links to connect with Jason if you haven't already, just click over to dailysales.tips/318. Then be sure to come back tomorrow for another great tip from Todd Caponi. Thanks for listening.